Grant Cardone is a New York Times best-selling author of 4 books. Now, he wrote those books in response to the economic collapse, the one that crippled the majority of America, because he knew at that point everybody needed to learn how to go out, how to identify a target, how to take that target down and make money. Currently, he's writing for Entrepreneur Magazine, Wells Fargo, Business Insider, Amex Open Forum. He contributes regularly to CNBC, MSNBC, Fox News. But if you ask who Grant is to me, he's a guy that completely changed my life. When I came to work for Grant, I'll get some Kleenex here. When I came to work for Grant, I thought I knew a little bit about selling. I had been in sales pretty much my whole life before that. And I come to find out really quick that just because you can talk to people doesn't mean you're a salesperson. So who is Grant for me? He's a life changer. When I came to work for Grant, I was making $2,500 a month. He gave me nothing more than that and an opportunity to go out and get as much as I want, to align myself with somebody with a lot of horsepower and go out and do massive things and really help people. If you don't know much about me, you probably haven't heard me. The first 6 months that I worked for Grant, I was living in LA making $2,500. I was literally sleeping on an air mattress. I had about 5 outfits that I wore in rotation, wore the elbows out of them because I was wearing them so much. But I go from making $2,500 checks to making $50,000 checks, that you see one of these here. So he was a complete life changer for me. And as we go through this, you're going to hear more stories about the people that Grant and his material have impacted. And I want you to know that this isn't just some fluke. This isn't just something that might happen. This is something that can happen. This is something that will happen for you. You just have to believe that it can. And you have to be willing to do the hard work, and you have to be willing to be uncomfortable. You got to be willing to sacrifice comfort for freedom. You got to be willing to sacrifice comfort to get what you want out of life. And today, Grant is going to give you 7 tips and way more things that you can do in order to get what you want out of life. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to Grant. Grant Cardone.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for coming. We are sold out. I've been promising for a week now that we'd be sold out. This webinar came up as a result of a buddy that I'm doing some work with right now. And he's like, hey, you think you could sell out a webinar? I'm like, well, I don't know. Let's find out. That was Tuesday. We had 3,000, just short of 3,000 people register for this. I acknowledge everybody that registered. If you missed it, I'm going to do another one because I commit to delivering to people. It's 5:00 on a Friday afternoon. There's 1,000+ people in the house right now. So I apologize to anybody that didn't make it. But look, hey, if you're not first,
you last.
You last. You last. Now, look, this is what we're going to do today, okay? I'm going to lay this thing out. This is going to be a blast. You're going to have a blast because the beautiful thing about sales is you should have fun in sales. You should have a blast in sales. And I didn't know that when I first got into it. I did not have a good time selling, okay? I went to a small college I lived in a small town, went to a small college and a very small high school. This is a photo of me right here graduating. You can see me over here in the right-hand corner. If you can find me there, I'm on the 3rd row all the way to the end. I was last, okay? I'm next to my twin brother there. I called him Henrietta. That was his name. And none of these people, as I saw this image today, none of these people were salespeople, okay? None of these people got out of high school and became salespeople. I know there's a lawyer in here. There's a couple of doctors in here. There's a bunch of people in here that are unemployed. Some of these people, do all kinds of things in life. I became the salesperson in this group. And I got to tell you, I'm happy I became the salesperson. How I got in sales was maybe much like many people got in sales. Nobody thinks about getting in sales. I don't think you're born to become a Motorola salesperson or GE salesperson, or you're like, I'm going to go sell aircraft one day. When you're 8, 9, 10 years old, that's not what you see on TV or hear on the radio. You don't go to school and hear about sales. So when I got out of college, I went to high school, left high school. I was in a town called Lake Charles, Louisiana. It's a refinery town. And the jobs in that refinery town are about labor. They're about hard work. They're also fishing boats in Cameron. I did all those jobs. I did a refinery job over the summers. I did offshore jobs where we delivered to supply boats. Hard labor, very tough. $8, $9 an hour jobs. I also had jobs as waiters, bellboy, McDonald's. Here's what you don't know. I got fired from every job I've ever been on. Every job. The only jobs I didn't get fired from were the ones that I quit first. So here I get out of college. I go to college because my dad, told my mom before he died, make sure those boys go to college. My dad died when I was 10 years old. And I only got in sales because I didn't want to do these other jobs. I didn't want to go do the fishing boats because when I was out there, all I did was I had too much free time. I hated being on the fishing boats. I didn't mind the work. I minded all the downtime. Out of a 12-hour day, I worked 3 hours, and 9 hours I sat around and just looked around and read books. And most of those books weren't going to help me any. These were summer jobs that I was doing. Went to college, finished in college with a C average, McNeese State University. I'm an alumni there now. I don't even know what that alumni means, actually. Okay, I barely got through college. Don't even know how I got through college. I get out of college, and I can't get a job. So the way I got in sales, and I'd love to hear your story on Twitter. If you were made for sales, if you went to college to get a sales job, I want to know it. Look, when I got in sales because of one reason. I couldn't get a job. Okay, period. I literally was in an unemployment line about 4 months after I graduated. It was 1981. Ooh.
Now, this is going to be very important for you to understand this, and then we're going to dive into the tips. 1981, I'm getting out of college, 24% unemployment where I live. I didn't know what that meant. They didn't teach you at college. I got an accounting degree, and they didn't teach me what 24% unemployment meant to my future. So I get out of college, I go to get a job. I can't get anybody to hire me, okay? 3-4 months after I get out of college, I go to the unemployment line because I'm like, I want some money. A buddy told me, he's like, hey, man, go get some government money. Dude, everybody's doing it. I'm like, well, how do I do that? I didn't even know how to do that, right? They don't teach you how to go get government money 25 years ago. So I go stand in the line. I'm sitting there waiting. There's 13 people in front of me. Now there's 12 people. Now there's 11 people. Now there's 10 people. And I hate what I'm doing. I mean, I don't even know how much money they're going to give me, but I hate waiting. I hated you guys having to wait for 8 minutes listening to Jared, talk about how you needed something to drink. So my uncle, thank God, my uncle drives up, sees me in the line, gets out of his car, walks up and says, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Man, I'm trying to get some unemployment money." Now, keep in mind, my dad had died about 12 years before that, and my uncle took some interest in me, Uncle Vincent. And Uncle Vincent says, "Get out of this line and go get a job." I'm like, "What do you mean, man? There's no work." He's like, "Look, your job is to get a job." That changed my life when he told me that. I said, "Yeah, what am I doing here?" My job's to get a job. The truth is you're never out of work. And then he reminded me of something my dad had told my mom before he died, which was tell those boys if they learn to sell, they can go anywhere and they can do anything. And I'll show you that image later. So I go to a car dealership. He tells me exactly where to go. Go to a car dealership. Guys, I got a friend there. His name's Rip Collins. So Rip Collins, I go to Rip Collins. I say, "Look, I'm a high school graduate. I know Vincent Neal. He sent me over here. I'm a high school graduate. I'm a college graduate. I got an accounting degree." And he's like, "I don't think you'll make it, but I'll give you a shot." And then he said this: "The less you know, the better off you are, son. In this business, the less you know, the better off you are." And I'm like, "Well, why didn't you tell me that 5 years ago? Before I spent $40,000 on college. I'd have been here 5 years ago." I made $5,000 my first month selling cars. I hated sales. Okay, this is what you need to know. I hated sales. Any of you out there that are watching this or listening to this, and you're like, "Oh, he sounds like a salesman. He's a barn salesman."